Hey everybody, welcome back to Your Free TV. It is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Another incredible day here in America. And there's so much to get into. I'm just going to jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully, harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal or medical or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. Okay, so I'm so glad to be back with you here today. Another incredible day as we're seeing that massive changes to the global imperial order of the elite cabal, based in the UK for 400 years, but the elites of the EU, and they're all at NATO right now. You know, the king and queen of the Netherlands are there, and a big NATO meeting is going. We won't know tons of what goes on there, but I do have some ideas and information to put in there. We'll know in the morning, very early. Right Side Broadcasting, I believe, will be putting up on their channel. You can find it on Rumble and elsewhere, RSBN, Rumble, where they will be broadcasting Trump's, I believe, his speech, talk to the press, and what's coming out with different things out of NATO. But he got there late. It was like 8 p.m. tonight when he arrived there. There was all the show and everything. You had Zelensky showing up in a suit for the first time since forever after meeting with King Charles yesterday. Charles was probably like, hey, you might want to put on a suit if you're going to now ask for $175 billion. Okay, we have Mark Rutte, the head of NATO, sending a massive kiss-ass letter on Signal to Trump that he screenshotted and put on his Truth Social. Basically, we love you. It's amazing what you just did in Iran, and it's so incredible, and all of this. But Trump is going to NATO with very specific purposes, which I'll get into in this video and follow up on tomorrow hugely. And then, of course, we also have everything else to do with the restructuring of what has been Israel's role, okay, in all the work they've been doing for the UK Imperial Empire, the MI6, CIA, Mossad industrial military complex, and that being taken down many, many notches. And so I'm going to get into it. But I want to start by saying thank you so much to everybody who supports the channel. I always start by saying thank you, but I had to run on because there's just so much going on. But thank you so much for making Your Free TV happen. You make it happen, so I'll put on the glasses and get to why you're here. So, okay, so when we're going to look at what's going on here, I want to start with a couple things. Basically, we're seeing the massive end of an era here, possibly, hopefully, depending on false flags that could be carried out, that Trump is doing here in his, WTF Israel, okay, that he put out there this morning. As I've been saying, the bait of, the ceasefire is happening. Trump's super uber pissed off that then Israel went and BOMB'd the crap out of Tehran with this one lonely missile that went off towards the end of the ceasefire from Iran. And we already know that the Israelis have their bases in Iran where they've been running all these operations. We also know coming out that there's been, and for entertainment purposes only, but the Mossad, has already, after the first tier of the heads of the Iran government were taken out by their subterfuge, violating all, war rules, Nuremberg Code, all of it, just going in with these assassinations, that they then, with the second tier, came in and said that, if you don't support our regime change operations, getting these messages to them literally through letters under their door, okay, and calls to their wives. Basically, if you don't go along with what we're planning to do here, we're going to murder you and your family and your spouses, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is all going on as Trump has come out and said to Israel, there will be no more American support for any of your operations in Iran. It's over. Trump coming out and saying very clearly, I don't support regime change in Iran. Those are always chaos events that you can't predict what's going to happen. And there's, of course, multiple militias in Iran that have been hiding out Iran's like a fortress. It has mountains on all four sides. It is like a incredible geographical place. Kind of like America is an incredible geographical place because it's surrounded by oceans and it's far away from all of this mayhem. But Iran is also has this incredible thing with all of its. It has like salt deserts in the middle. Sands that suck up tanks. It's a very hard place to go to war with. And so Trump has said, I don't support regime change, and he's super uber pissed off at Israel. And what this means is so incredible because this is the end of a rule here of 80 years since the Holocaust, of course, and World War II, and the millions and millions, the God, the amounts of millions dead in Russia, okay, the amounts of millions dead across the world, and of course the 6 million Jews who died in the targeted assault of killing the Jews, and that has ruled our brainwaves here for the last 80 years, and you can argue that that was very important. However, then it became a massive political machine, okay, run out of Britain and the Rothschilds empire, building up the state of Israel, and then that being used always to strong arm everyone with very little gratitude, okay, out of the Israeli government and certainly Mossad, in bed with our CIA, MI6, all of it, Robert Maxwell, the triple agent. We have all of it, but we're seeing the end of this control that might take down AIPAC's control over our Congress and our Senate. And this is huge because that is what has been ruling our foreign policy with the CIA, Mossad, MI6 empire in our deep state. Okay, all the cash cows to our Congress and Senate, and all the lobbyists and everybody behind them, the military-industrial complex, hugely out of CENTCOM. And what do we get today out of CENTCOM? Of course, is this leak through CNN and the New York Times that the Defense Intelligence Agency staffer leaked something saying, "Hey, guess what? We didn't really destroy anything to do with Iran's nuclear capabilities. They can rebuild in months." Steve Witkoff came out this afternoon and said, that's not true. Estefan, or whatever it's called, he came out and said that Esfahan is the conversion facility that's absolutely needed to form the uranium into actual weapons, and it's 100% destroyed. The more accurate reality here is that it was taken back years, not months, as far as Iran developing nuclear. He said that we're already talking to Iran already a day after, okay, and that we're already basically saying that they can do a civil program, but they can't enrich for weapons purposes. And we're already talking about a civil program that happens like in the UAE, that they can go this route, but not the enrichment route. And so that's already day two, not even, where he's saying that they're talking, and of course they're talking through Qatar, and you have all the Mark Levins and everybody else. Oh, Trump is an agent of Qatar. He's he's enabling the Nazi master religion race that wants to exterminate the Jews. It's just so insane. These people are like on their hind legs, and the only thing they have here is a major EfEf, and that is our big concern. It always is. That with the Israeli Mossad, and our deep state, MI6, all of them behind the EfEfs that have been guiding our CENTCOM cash cow machine of just endless wars and the endless lives of people lost and the turmoil and the poverty that it's created in the United States. Well, that is with all prayers and prayers ending, that we can be looking away, okay, that Trump is equalizing the playing field and saying, Israel, you can be a country here in these Abrahamic Accords, okay, like everybody else, as it's extending and they're trying to get, so many more countries wanting to join and saying, no, we'll just all be, equal here. No more Israel more important. Okay, no more the Holocaust forever. Okay, it's been 80 years, and there hasn't been another one. Okay, and so let's just move on. And this is a huge, huge, just all of it to do with all of the, even the Vatican, what they're trying to do, the massive Islamification, the constant focus on the Abrahamic religion, and all of this to be gone with mutual respect, okay, across countries and sovereign nations. Which brings me to, Trump in NATO, because what this brings up is, of course, Trump having to get on the plane after saying, what the F to Israel, and going all the way over to Brussels. Well, he's going to be presenting some major stuff here at NATO, which is also really important. And it comes down to Article 5 in the NATO agreement. And there's 32 nations in NATO, 32 nations. And you know why there's 32 nations? It is because of the cash cow of the USA. It's the cash cow of the USA, and that if you're in trouble, the USA will come and fight for you and give all that money through the CENTCOM Pentagon. And of course, Guerrilla, General Guerrilla, who's supposedly still retiring in a week or so, although maybe extending. I don't know if Trump was putting that out there as sort of a just kind of a troll like he does. We were supposed to have Brad Cooper coming in, taking over CENTCOM, but Carilla not coming out and saying, where did this evidence come from, this proof, this thing that we had to go and do this operation, Midnight Hammer now, and it came out of Mossad, and that's really clear. And so Mossad, with Ratcliffe today, or yesterday, basically saying, we still want to keep attacking, which they then did. And what is being said is that Ratcliffe came out and said, and big ups to CIA Director Ratcliffe, because it's like you never know what's going on there. He basically said, if you keep attacking, then we will be cutting off intelligence from the U.S. to Israel, and no more CIA intelligence sharing, or this thing with Mossad. So that's massive. But where's Carilla? Where, what happened with Mike Waltz? Where was this evidence? And this, of course, was because they had planned, with the Bilderberg and the depopulation plan and the World War III plan, they had planned for this to kick off. They've been planning it for many, many, many years. And so they couldn't do it. Trump trumped them with this peace agreement, with this ceasefire. And you get the crazies like Mark Levin saying, oh, they must come out with a surrender, a full-on surrender documentation, all this baloney. And Trump's like, no, I'm not into regime change, and we already know you're up to that. So we're out. So at NATO, Trump is going in with this, Article 5 redo, okay, basically saying that Article 5 depends on Article 3. And Article 3 is where it says that all nations must have their own militaries to define themselves as partners in NATO. He's going in to defund, he's like, as you guys grow your, it's 2%, Mark Rutte, oh, we're almost at 2%, and we're going for 5%, we're going to take away all our social programs to all of our people across Europe, everything they enjoy, their 3-week vacations, their healthcare. We're going to take it away. We're creating debt. We just changed the rules so that now they can have the same problems as you guys there in the United States. We're going to create massive fiat currency debt and just fund the military, right? And we want that 175 billion for Ukraine. And so Trump is saying, yeah, this is the deal. Okay, Article 3 says you guys have to be able to defend yourselves, okay, first of all. And then you're defending yourselves and you can't do it yourselves, then the USA will come in and help. But there has to be clear parameters. And in my estimation, NATO is over. It should be over. Again, just as the whole narrative of Israel at all costs must be ended. The even playing field must be now approached. And of course, that's Trump's plan, is to change the dynamics here to end the UK imperial cabal, just all the globalist crazies, okay, that have stolen all our money and treasure, the lives of our soldiers and others, poisoned us, tried to kill us, stolen our manufacturing, all of them in our deep state government and our Congress and our bought off Senate. And that basically saying, nope, we're ending all of it and we're coming to this playing field that is going to be equal, where we all do trade based on what our value is and that what we can bring to the table. And Article 5 in NATO is going to reflect that there is the fact that you have already built your own military. And if you have that to defend yourself, as 32 countries have, crammed in here, right? CENTCOM, Pentagon, they just want more and more of these NATO countries because it gives them so much more money for their military industrial complex, that you have your own military, then Article 5 comes in. But Trump is also, according to what I've been researching, planning to say, but this comes with the intention that Article 5 is to end the wars as quickly as possible, to limit casualties, to limit loss of life, and to create safety in the nation. And it's a defense situation. Okay, it's not a come in, do the offensive, obliterate the other nation. It is to create a defense, create safety, and that basically redesigning NATO or else kind of thing. So we'll find out more. This is what I've been able to gather. I pray that it's true, because this redo of NATO, if we won't totally end NATO, which I believe we should, because Trump is recreating a new, just all of geopolitics, but also a geo-economical order, taking the power away from these elite cabal, okay, largely satanic and massively dependent on child trafficking, slavery, the total destruction of humanity, and wanting it. Bilderberg, the main topic was depopulation. They're psychotic and they're crazy. And so we're going to see what goes on there. Trump also announced today, he put out on Truth, that saying to China, you can now go ahead with your buying of your Iranian oil that is massive for you in China, and you can thank me for that. You can go ahead and resume now that Strait of Hormuz is supposedly not in threat. Buy your oil, and by the way, I hope you'll buy some from the USA too. So again, Trump bringing China to the table in a new design. And we also had in Israel, we did have Netanyahu, or the government, basically saying to the Israelis, lifting all civil constraints, okay, that they can come out from the bunkers and that's safe to roam around. But we also know that in their game plan, unless it can be thwarted, they're on their hind legs. So there is this last ditch attempt, and the people, who are out there, punditing around it, they're just like crazy people, like Levin, et cetera. Where they're basically saying, oh, Iran had to give up because we had beat them, and therefore that's why they asked for the ceasefire, et cetera, et cetera. And so, but basically they said, you can come out wherever you are. We're done with this for now. But the regime change, that desire to really get Pahlavi back in there, the threats to the current leadership. It's interesting how Arakchi, the foreign minister, seems to survive, of Iran and meeting Putin and all of this. And then, of course, what's going to be actually said between Zelensky and Trump at NATO. And I believe another thing that's going to be insisted at NATO by Trump is the end of the war. It's come out across everything that Trump has said. When I talked to Putin, I said, no, you can't help me with Iran, but I need help with you, basically to end this war, where Russia has just been pummeling Ukraine during all the attention over here. with the trying to push off World War III by Israel and its, puppet masters. And so we see this situation at NATO. Will Trump be able to bring the NATO summit to this incredible conclusion of a ceasefire in Ukraine? Okay, this would be massive, and of course, Zelensky's coming with his tie on with a huge ask of $175 billion. Not from the USA, no. And so perhaps Trump will do, I believe, what he will do, what he always does, because Bessent is with him at NATO. The U.S. Secretary of Treasury is with him at NATO, and his guys that work with him to basically, probably there'll be some, hey, you sign, some economic deal with us, then we'll give you some money to make sure you have security forces to protect Ukraine, but we're not coming in for you to keep fighting this war with Russia. So I think that's what we'll be seeing. It's miraculous days here, and it's incredible to watch what is going on. And so much else has been going on while we've been staring at this Iran thing, not to mention all the big, beautiful bill stuff. One big thing in there, Rand Paul came out today and said that he would support the bill if they will drop the trying to raise the debt ceiling. He says, I don't want conservatives, I don't want Republicans owning this increase the debt situation. If you get rid of raising the debt ceiling and have us vote in that in a separate bill, then we can let the Democrats own it, but I don't want that in the big, beautiful bill. That's Rand Paul's situation. Others are saying, we need hugely, and I agree, that we want to keep these Green New Scam aspects in the bill that give all these subsidies, still keep it going, still the Inflation Reduction Act, Biden cash cow to all of these hedge funds, BlackRock, Vanguard, etc., for these subsidies for the CCP solar, the CCP wind, the carbon capture of Bill Gates et al. All these big wigs out of Montana and Washington that give us that, and we'll pay for it by totally gutting rural healthcare. Like, we'll defund these rural hospitals and take away their Medicaid, and that's how we'll pay. And that's a no. That's a no. So fighting back against that, and of course the massive AI stuff that's in there, and multiple other things. So we'll see what goes on. Trump is basically, on his way to NATO. He was saying we're going to stop wars and start trading, and I believe that's what he's going to be saying at NATO, and really pushing for that. So that's all huge. So basically, I wanted to mention a few other things that have been going on, a bunch of health stuff, and also some really cool news, like in the UK. Keir Starmer is tanking hugely. Okay, it's massive. Very, very exciting there. We're seeing Keir Starmer losing all of his support amongst the people of the UK. And Nigel Farage and the Reform UK party is leading. It's leading across the UK. So they're trying to stave off this populist huge movement there in the UK. And Nigel Farage also put out what he is trying to launch, taking it from Trump, what he's calling the Britannica card, which is basically, pay £250,000 and you can come in and get a tax ID number to, work in the UK with a possible path to citizenship, depending, and that that they'll use the money they raise for that to basically fund the low-income native British, okay, that have been totally gutted, okay, whether it's the destruction of the farming industry, the manufacturing industry, just the mass poverty going on in the UK. And so the UK Reform Party is massively just burgeoning, and as is the fight back in Ireland, as I've been talking about. So this is all very, very exciting. And as we, see this big reveal happen, where it's becoming clear to the people, okay, as we see out of Israel, just the huge news that, so many posts coming out that, We hope an Iran BOMB drops on America, that you won't keep letting us do this war, and just all this awful things that are coming out. The big reveal is that Israel is not pro-America, not grateful, and all the things we pay for, the military, okay, $4 billion a year free, the roads, the government, the education, the healthcare, all of the subsidies, all of this with the APAC money. It's the big reveal is that Israel is showing itself that it's not pro-America, it's only pro-Israel, and it will use whatever it can. And I think Mossad's motto is through deception we do war, something like that. And this deception thing, right? It's in all of these belief systems of various peoples, okay, versus Christianity, okay, which is like, no, you're supposed to be honest, and CIA. I mean, our deep state is horrendously awful. The Anglo, what they call the Atlanticists, the Anglo Imperial Empire of the UK, being the worst of them all. But basically, this big reveal that we're seeing here is just is massive in how it can reshape everything. It is basically ridding the U.S. of this APAC influence, and it has such huge potential. So I wanted to put that out there. It is so important that we understand the massive moves of Trump coming out and saying how angry he is at Netanyahu, at Israel, for going against what they've done. I'm sure he already knows that they already had sort of fake evidence of why they must go in immediately and do the midnight hammer operation. But he did it because he is playing this strategic game to get them off our back, and say, okay, we're done, and we're giving you no more aid in your war on Iran. It's so good, so good. And so a couple health things I wanted to mention here, and then we're going to get into some false flag stuff, because I think that's our biggest danger here, is false flags that generally come out of the Atlanticists, the MI6, Mossad, CIA, Cabal, with all of their Islamist proxies, and we've seen it all kind of set up. And what is the NCRI, which is the National Contagion Research Institute, with all of this bot creation they're doing online, and trying to weaponize the government against people speaking out about possible EfEfs, etc. But I'll get there in a second. I wanted to mention a few health things. And one, and I forgot to get his name, but I will link it below, an Italian pathologist has come out and basically said that through all of his research the last few years, and the people that have had the massive, Franken v. Shot reactions, he's basically saying that in his studies, he's finding that the pineal glands of these people, he said, why we're seeing so much personality changes in people, the zombification, the lack of empathy, the total lack of social, the ability to have social interactions, or just social normative appropriate behavior, or kindness, or just the Trump derangement syndrome, all of it. He's saying that the pineal gland is basically destroyed by these Franken shots, and that the mRNA shots, with everything that's in them, it's destroying the pineal gland. And that is so important to understand, because when we look at this, we know that that's always been the aim, right? The pineal gland. It's whether it was the fluoride to calcify the pineal gland in the water, or whatever, all the poisons, the mercury. We're going to get into that in a second with the vaccine board, RFK's new vaccine advisory board. But when we look at this with the shots destroying the pineal gland, you just want to praise David Icke. You're like, yes, it is a reptilian freaking plan, right? It is like this long-term plan of this reptilians to destroy our ability to do empathy. And you think of Ozempic, for entertainment purposes only, in the shots with the Gila venom. There's always these venoms. There's always these poisons that come from these reptiles put in these shots. And basically, it's the pineal gland being destroyed. The pineal gland is said to be, of course, your third eye and your connection to God, your consciousness gland, okay, that feeds your brain with this beautiful awareness of God and your connection to God, and your ability to have this incredible consciousness that can not only connect with God, but connect on this incredible, on the infinite instead of the internet, okay, where you have this infinite connection between people, how we, know somebody's going to call, how we know what somebody's thinking, how we feel when somebody's ill, even though they're 3,000 miles away, our ability to connect through the infinite being destroyed by the shots. And I will link the Italian pathologist below. I'm so sorry I don't have his name right here. I thought I had it down. And also, let's just get on from there. So, with all of this, we have RFK Jr.'s, well, it's called, what is it now, ACIP, but it is, his newly formed Vaccine Advisory Board, where he shortened it to only 8 people, and there's still no CDC permanent director in. And so you get shills for big pharma like Bill Cassidy, Republican out of Louisiana. Let's hope he gets, senator. Let's hope next time he's up that he gets primaried the heck out of there. But he basically is trying to prevent RFK Jr. from coming with his new board to discuss, to meet and come with the decisions of things like, oh, are we going to take thimerosal out of the flu shots? Not to mention every other vaccine. Okay, this is the mercury that is totally causes brain damage, and he's trying to stop it basically on those grounds, like that they're all anti-vaxxers on his board, and that there's no CDC director. He can't be doing this, and so I say give Bill Cassidy a little bit of your thoughts on that. BillBlastersApp.org. You can call him at 202-224-3121. Go to his direct line and give him an idea of what you think about it. Very politely, of course, because that's what works. But anyway, moving on from there, I also wanted to mention that we also had multiple other people coming out with warnings about the false flag possibility, and what came out on June 14th, which was this NCRI report. And this is the National Contagion Research Institute, and this is literally an ADL institute. Okay, Joel Finkelstein is in charge of it. He was a former ADL research fellow, and that's the Anti-Defamation League. Of course, what got everybody, deplatformed, all this stuff. And of course, the ADL was made in the early 20th century, created very early, way before World War II or anything, by B'nai B'rith, which is the Jewish Zionist Masons, okay, that sprang up. They created the ADL, Rothschild's money, all of it, Anti-Defamation League. And so we have Joel Finkelstein, along with a Microsoft platform, that they put out this report, which is basically like it reads like, it's predictive programming for what they're intending, because way back before this whole attack started with Israel and everything, just after, you get this report saying there's going to be all these Russian bots. We're seeing it, Russian bots, Iranian bots, going to invade MAGA, and try to create huge disarray, basically saying, Israel's behind what's going to be EfEfs, and that, the terrorist attacks are coming. But anybody who says that they are EfEfs are bots from or paid for by Iran or Russia, and trying to create this kind of national security censorship machine. And it is kind of one of those things that's like, well, if they put out their battle plan, then you must know that they're intending to have some FFs, okay? We know ICE rolled up about 14 Iranian nationals. I don't think they're the problems, even though they are the problem, but as far as paid operatives. But what I'm saying is that we have this situation where the FFs are coming from inside the house, right? And it's with all of the Atlanticists, Mossad, Satanic Cabal, our deep state, right? And so that is what it is that this is the major danger we're under, is the EfEfs that could come in the next week, to basically, in around 4th of July. We have the No Kings 2.0. They put out their posters, oh, we're doing No Kings again. It's going to come out on July 4th. We're going to ruin your 4th of July with our No Kings riots. And they're already saying they're doing that. And so I think this is, this NCRI report I will link below, but they're basically saying we have Russian, Iranian bots. They're massive, and the people who, are trying to divide MAGA and create this dissension, the people who are claiming it's EfEf or it's Israel, they're the bad bots from Iran and Russia, and everybody else who denounces Iran and Russia are normal people, but these national security threats are all these channels that are saying, hey, EfEf's, big warning, that seems kind of likely. So it's this preemptive propaganda that they're putting out with this huge report out of the National Contagion Research Institute. I think it was started in 2018. I'll link information about where it came from below as well. So I think I just wanted to let you know that, as this goes down, you can see a lot of accounts shut down. I'm sure, my channel is already so shadow banned that, who knows what'll get worse. I don't know. But yeah, if you are unsubscribed, please share the video. Please share the video. I forget to ever say that. Please share the video, give the thumbs up. Okay, because the shadow banning on here is massive. But yeah, so their whole thing is we have foreign narrative feeders, these bot farms, they're going to be using psychological warfare and all of this right as the Israel, hits Iran attack. And so this is, the cyber warfare end of this, the information cyber warfare. And so I wanted to kind of alert you that this is going down in our deep cyber state. And we will keep revealing what we find out about it as we go forward. So I think I'm going to end it there. There's always more to say, but I don't want to be redundant and keep repeating things. I think I will end with this, as we pray, prayers are paramount, especially with EfEfs and what they're going to try to do to sabotage Trump, and blessings for him at NATO, and what we're going to find out about what happened there. But I do want to just bring to people's attention as we pray and as we, just really, really pray, warriors, full armor of God prayer, that, Trump really exemplifies Christian good works. And he's not your traditional Christian. However, nor were any of the disciples. Basically, what we get here is this situation where Trump is coming out full bore for peace, okay, for stopping death, stopping harm, stopping tyranny, stopping the money, the disgusting money usury situation, reforming everything to do with our economy based on fair trade. You go across the board of what Christian values are and what Christ said, how we're supposed to act, and Trump keeps coming out doing these things. And so I want to bring that to your attention. There's few people who exemplify with, of course, the power and scale and the aptitude and capability that Trump has of putting these Christian values forward on the level that can actually bring world peace. It is a massive fight. That's why our prayers with our full armor are so paramount. Your prayers are so powerful. So I just want to encourage you to pray, encourage you to not get distracted. Evil is what distracts, right? To keep your eyes on the prize, okay? That Trump's plan, okay, be executed with precision and with blessings and with total protection, and that we do our local work. That is our job. Our job is our local lives, our local work. Get involved in the national stage if you want, but go help Mark Lynch get elected to oust Lindsey Graham, right? Let's just do our work. Precinctstrategy.org. I know I mention them all the time, but There's so much good work there that you can get involved with. But get, whether it's your city council, getting out all of the Agenda 21 stuff in your blue state if you live there, all the crap with your city council, your city planners are huge when it comes to how they're putting LED lights on all the street lights and setting up the 5G grids. Whatever it is that is your passion, follow your passion, because anything else you won't want to do. Okay, do the thing that is natural, that comes to you, that you feel that spark. Okay, that life. That's like, oh, I want to do that. I'm really passionate about this, and pray on it, and then go, just do it. Right? Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. If you found something that's beneficial or added value from this video, I would be so appreciative if you could support the channel below. It is shoestring kind of budget here at this channel, and so I so appreciate all of your help and support. And of course, I also love my sponsor, c60evo.com/YAFTV. Use the code YAFTV for 10% off on this incredible molecule that gets into your mitochondria and cleans it all up, does incredible work to clear out your neurons, all of your trillions of cells, okay, taking the garbage out and letting your cells get healthy. I'm gonna be here with a great video talking about longevity studies being done by the company who creates C60 Evo. It's going to be amazing and kind of blow your mind, so I'm excited about that. People who support the channel get 15% off, and of course, a different link and code sent to you. So I won't belabor it. You hear this all the time, but C60 Evo is an amazing product. c60evo.com/YAFTV, code YAFTV for 10% off. Thanks so much for watching. I so appreciate you. It's an incredible thing every day. I'll be up early in the hours tomorrow morning, hearing all of the NATO news, and also late tonight. So you are free, and I will see you tomorrow.